Good afternoon, everyone. Today, now, the truth you've been avoiding crashes through every defense you've built. This isn't comfortable reading. This isn't gentle awakening. This is sledgehammer to the illusions, and you either face it or you keep living the lie. Choose fast. Lies end when maintaining them costs more than facing truth. You've been maintaining something, some story you tell yourself, some narrative you've constructed about your situation, about someone's feelings, about what's possible or impossible for you, about why things are the way they are. That story is crumbling. Today, not eventually, not when you're ready. Today, right now, as you're hearing this, the foundation you built on false premises is cracking, and you can either evacuate the structure before it collapses on you, or you can stay inside pretending the walls aren't coming down until they bury you. If you dare isn't dramatic flourish. It's accurate assessment of what truth facing requires. Courage, real courage, not the performative kind where you talk about being brave, the actual kind where you look at reality you've been avoiding and you see it clearly, even though seeing it clearly destroys comfortable delusions you've been living in because delusion felt safer than truth. Most people don't dare. Most people choose comfortable lie over uncomfortable truth. Most people will stop reading right here because they sense what's coming and they're not ready to dismantle the scaffolding of denial that's been holding their world together. They'll tell themselves this doesn't apply to them. They'll scroll past. They'll protect the lie because the lie is familiar and truth is terrifying. But you're still here. So maybe you're different. Maybe you're ready. Maybe you're done with the exhaustion of maintaining fiction. Maybe some part of you already knows what I'm about to say and has been waiting for permission to acknowledge it, for external voice to name what internal voice has been whispering, but that you've been drowning out with distraction, with rationalization, with all the mechanisms people use to avoid knowing what they already know. Here's what's ending today. Here's the truth that stops being deniable. First lie. They're going to change. The person who keeps disappointing you, who keeps promising different and delivering same, who keeps saying they'll do better and then doing exactly what they've always done. You've been telling yourself they'll change, that this time is different, that they mean it this time, that if you're just patient enough, understanding enough, forgiving enough, they'll finally become who they keep promising to be. They're not going to change, not the way you need them to change, not in time frame that matters, not in ways that make relationships sustainable or healthy or worth the continued investment you're making in hope that's been consistently disappointed, but that you keep resurrecting, because accepting they won't change means accepting you need to leave, and leaving feels impossible, feels like failure, feels like admitting you wasted years on someone who was never going to meet you where you needed to be met. The truth ending today, their pattern is their answer. When people show you who they are through repeated behavior, believe them. Stop believing their words, stop believing their intentions, stop believing their potential, believe their actions, believe their patterns. Believe what they consistently do, not what they occasionally promise. And if their patterns hurt you, if their patterns disappoint you, if their patterns demonstrate they're not capable of being partner you need, that's your answer. That's the truth. That's what you need to accept today so you can stop waiting for transformation that isn't coming and start making decisions based on who they actually are rather than who you hope they'll become. Second lie. You can't do better. You've convinced yourself this is as good as it gets for you, that your options are limited by your age, your appearance, your history, your circumstances, that you should be grateful for whatever scraps of affection or attention you receive, because someone like you doesn't get to be picky, doesn't get to have standards, doesn't get to expect actual partnership instead of whatever diminished version you're currently accepting. This is absolute bullshit. Offensive bullshit. Self-imposed limitation based on internalized unworthiness that someone probably planted in you and that you've been watering diligently, growing it into massive tree that blocks your view of what's actually available if you'd stop accepting minimum as though minimum is all you deserve. The truth ending today, you can absolutely do better. Better exists. Better is accessible. Better is waiting for you to believe you deserve it enough to leave worse. You staying with someone who doesn't value you, who doesn't treat you well, who doesn't meet your needs, that's not about your limitations. That's about your fear. Your fear of being alone. Your fear of starting over. Your fear that maybe you're right about deserving only scraps, and if you leave scraps, you'll end up with nothing. But nothing is better than worse. Being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. Starting over is better than staying stuck in a situation that diminishes you. You can do better, and the first step to doing better is refusing to accept worse, is leaving the relationship or the job or the situation that's beneath what you're worth and creating space for something that actually matches your value. Third lie, you're protecting someone by staying silent. You're not saying what needs to be said because you're being kind, being mature, being understanding, you're protecting their feelings, you're avoiding conflict, you're keeping peace. No, you're protecting yourself, you're avoiding consequences of honesty, you're maintaining status quo because disrupting it feels scary, even though status quo is slowly killing you. And you're calling your cowardice kindness, your avoidance maturity, your silence protection, when actually your silence is violence against yourself, is daily betrayal of your truth, is choosing someone else's comfort over your own integrity. The truth ending today, your silence serves no one. Not them, not you, not the relationship. Them, they're living in false reality where everything's fine because you're not telling them it's not fine. You're being corroded by resentment that builds every day you don't speak. The relationship is dying slowly instead of being given chance to heal through honest confrontation or to end cleanly through honest acknowledgement that it's not working. Speak today. Say what needs saying. Not cruelly, not as attack, but honestly, clearly, finally, this isn't working for me. This needs to change or I need to leave. I'm not happy. Here's why. Here's what I need. I've been pretending I'm okay with this arrangement. I'm not okay with it. We need to renegotiate or we need to end. Whatever your specific truth is, speak it. Today, stop protecting lie through your silence. Let truth have its day, even if truth destroys what's been built on fiction. This reflection invites you to consider what truth have you been avoiding speaking and what's the real reason you've stayed silent. Fourth lie, you have time. Time to figure it out. Time to make it work. Time to wait for things to get better. Time to delay the difficult decision, the painful conversation, the necessary ending. You've been treating your life like it's infinite, like you can keep deferring action indefinitely, like tomorrow is guaranteed, and tomorrow you'll be braver, stronger, more ready. You don't have time. None of us have time. Life is shorter than you think, and the portion of life where you're healthy, where you're energetic, where opportunities are still abundant, that's shorter still. Every day you spend in wrong relationship, wrong job, wrong situation is day you don't get back. Is day that could have been spent building something right, finding someone right, creating life that actually reflects your values instead of life built on compromise and fear. The truth ending today, your time is now. Not when circumstances are perfect, not when you're completely certain, not when every risk has been eliminated. Now, today, this moment you're living through while reading this. This is your time to act, to choose, to change course if current course is taking you somewhere you don't want to go. And if you waste this time, if you spend it maintaining comfortable dysfunction instead of creating uncomfortable progress, that's on you. That's your choice. That's you deciding that staying small is safer than risking growth, that known misery is preferable to unknown possibility, that you'd rather protect what isn't working than bet on what might work if you were brave enough to try. Fifth lie, you're fine. You're okay. You're managing. It's not that bad. You've convinced yourself that tolerating something harmful or diminishing is same as being fine, is same as coping successfully, is same as making adult choice to accept reality instead of demanding something better. You're not fine. You know you're not fine. Your body knows even if your mind is still arguing. Your stress levels know. Your sleep quality knows. Your genuine smile frequency knows. Your energy levels know. Your excitement about life knows. All the physical and emotional markers that indicate whether someone is actually thriving or just surviving, those know you're not fine, even though you keep insisting you are. The truth ending today, you're suffering, and suffering isn't noble. Suffering isn't growth. Suffering isn't maturity. Suffering is just suffering, and you're allowed to stop. You're allowed to say, this is hurting me, and I'm not doing it anymore. You're allowed to prioritize your well-being over someone else's convenience. You're allowed to leave situations that damage you, even if leaving inconveniences people who benefit from your continued presence in diminished state. This reflection invites you to consider if you're actually fine, why did this message make you feel something? The lies are over today because you're deciding they're over. Not because circumstances changed, not because someone else finally told you truth, because you're choosing to stop lying to yourself, to stop accepting lies from others, to stop building your life on foundations that crumble the moment you examine them honestly. This is too strong? Yes, intentionally. Gentle hasn't worked. Understanding hasn't worked. Patient hasn't worked. You needed strong. You needed confrontation. You needed someone to say clearly what you've been sensing but haven't been willing to name, which is that you're living lies that are costing you your actual life, your actual happiness, your actual potential. Watch it if you dare. You dared. You're still here. You read this far. That means some part of you is ready. Some part of you is done with comfortable delusion. Some part of you wants truth, even though truth demands action, demands change, demands you stop being person who accepts lies and become person who insists on reality. Today the lies end. All of them. The ones you tell yourself, the ones you accept from others, the ones you perform to maintain appearances. Today you face what is instead of what you wish would be. Today you speak truth that's been locked behind fear. Today you make choices based on reality instead of based on hope that reality will magically transform into something it's never going to become. This is too strong because it has to be. You needed to be shaken. Consider yourself shaken. Now, what are you going to do about it?